Okay, so I'm going to be doing some leading here with Sebastian. So this isn't going to be the best quality because this is on the GoPro zoomed in, but I wanted to show him working on leading from his pasture to like the wash rack and then to like the arena area. So um, yeah, this is going to be about as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to just do some leading here. I want to reinforce him for being in the correct spot. There, that's pretty good. And then I'm just going to have him, I'm going to reinforce him where I'd like him to be. So I kind of have my hand a couple steps back, he backs up and then gets the reinforcement. And that's worked really well for him. And then again, I'm going to reinforce him for staying still in that correct spot. And then I'll just kind of like pause for a moment and then walk forward again. And that was good. He's walking with me in the correct spot. So I'm going to click and then feed him in that correct spot. Even though he's kind of walked forward a little bit, this does take a little bit of time, but they will catch on and end up in that correct position where you reinforce as. Be careful that you're not putting your hand in front of your body and pulling that horse forward and reinforcing him for being in that position. You want them to be wherever your horse is and like wherever, whatever size they are, you want them to be in that spot. So for him, my hand's going to be back here. I kind of turn my body, and then he takes a step or two back, and then I'll move my hand and reinforce him. So that kind of depends on where you want your horse to be, how big they are, things like that. So, but that's a big thing of it is where you reinforce at. And I had that same issue with Castor. I was reinforcing him too far forward, and then he was walking forward and then walking ahead of me. So that's just one of those things with leading to really be careful and watch. But he's being great. He's staying pretty well in that area that I want him to be, and I want him staying still as well, not always just going forward. So reinforcing him for staying still and going forward, giving him a pause, and then giving him a specific cue to go forward. And that was one big thing that I struggled with. So here, my hand's back. He takes a couple steps back, and then I'll bring it forward and feed him. So you might also just keep your hand back and have them go all the way back and eat out of it. That works too. For me, I just wanted him to go back a couple steps, and then I brought it forward. So like that time I was when I clicked, he was walking with me in the right place. And then when I stopped, he ended up going forward. So then you could see here where the mechanics of feeding where I put my hand back, he had to step back and get that food. So I'm clicking at a different moment and then he kind of messes that up, but then I'm still reinforcing that correct position. So that's a little bit better visual of that. And that's what I was doing while I was leading him. So now I'm just kind of working on stay a little bit, just in that different environment. He does get groomed up here, and that's kind of one of the things I want to work on is him just staying still and hanging out while I groom him, and in this case, fly spray him. Um, the one thing I would change about this is having the mat up here. I do have the mat up here now so that when they come up here, they have a place to stand on it. It's very clear. Um, but once your horse knows like the cue to stay, you don't have to have the mat everywhere. You just make sure that you give them that specific cue.